Oh, hey there,
Oh,
Mr. Dominato. How you doing, buddy?
hey, Eric, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm refusing to look at my Dolphins preseason record, but still doing okay. How are you doing? How's the Western PA treating you?
Doing well. I went back to my classroom yesterday, which I didn't put up a picture because it is disheveled. They're still doing construction. And we had a TRETSI meeting today, Three Rivers Educational Technology Conference.
Okay.
We put a call out for presentations, but basking in the glow of what's going to be an undefeated football season from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now we're 1-0. I think we could
Oh, there you
break
go.
Miami's record if we including preseason. Not to be
You rolling,
bold
man.
and brash, but
That's it, man. Hey, right now everybody's winning the Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to kill it, destroy it, and it's all good. Yeah, a lot of good stuff, but you got all that going on. The Tretsy stuff, yeah. My daughters came in to help me do some setup in my room, and they were laughing that my room came in of the 4 classrooms, the 3 or so I guess it would be the other 4 ladies, our learning sport teacher. Their rooms had better aesthetics than mine did, and I said, "Well, girls, that's the difference between a boy teacher and a girl teacher." But it's clean. I mean, it's all good. Everything's all set up, so ready to go. But yeah, just getting all those final pieces for. We have 3 days of in service, and then we kick off next Thursday. How about you guys?
we have a floating in service this week. I'm going to go in later this week, probably Thursday or Friday for a couple hours to see if I can at least put my desks back. They have the chiller unit. The vent is in the ceiling where it belongs, but it's not wired in. So I climbed over desks and went back to my little cubbyhole office and the sow cave, as I affectionately call it, and great reviewed some summer work. My honor students turned in some work and wanted me to look over it, so I spent time doing that.
There you go.
But we start next week. Monday,
climbing
Tuesday.
over stuff, going in the corner. It just seems like a perfect spot for you to be. I'm just gonna throw it out.
Time out.
The design works.
Timeout box, if you will.
Yeah, man. So we're in the thick of it. A lot of stuff going on. We had our PACT board meeting. A lot of stuff going on there. Regional directors, you guys are all hard at work planning things out. So, and we have an unprecedented back-to-back conference. So nice. We're going to talk about it twice. Show tonight. So we've got the KTI recap into part 2. So I think we should probably kick something off. What do you think?
I think so. About time for the
PACT pod. Let's roll it. Welcome to the PACT pod, episode 33, KTI recap, August 15th, 7 p.m. We're talking about PACT, an organization by teachers, for teachers, 100% volunteer based. My name is Eric Verno. I am fortunate to be the vice president of PACT, and with me co-hosting as always is
Dom Salvucci. I am the regional director for the Southwest region of PACT.
Yeah. So a lot of amazing things happening through this organization. We're the ISTE affiliate, AACT affiliate, COSIN affiliate, the state affiliate for all those international and countrywide organizations.
Yes.
And a lot of great stuff going on. And one of the great things that we do is we run a program called Keystone Technology Innovators. And we run a Keystone Technology Innovator Summit. And, it's probably, as we always say, it's always good to have somebody who's more intelligent than us on the show to talk about things. What do you think?
Yes, I totally agree. And this summit I have to brag a little bit. It's pretty intense. It's pretty incredible. So it's worth 2 episodes back to back.
There we go. Well, looking for that, the intelligence nature. I mean, obviously our follicle count blows away this guest, but we are going to invite our special guest onto the stage to talk about KTI.
And this is a first. He's the first back-to-back guest of the PACT pod.
KTI squared. Here we go. Scott Snyder, welcome to the KTI pod. Is basically what we're rolling it out to. The month of August is KTI
pod
for real. How we doing, sir?
And I'm bringing a level of intelligence to things. Okay, if you say so.
Yes, we appreciate it.
It's how we roll.
Hey,
Good stuff.
2 back-to-back episodes, but I still won't have Coy Bowles beat, who was on for like 3 hours with you guys. So
That's true. Listen,
We could
listen,
do a marathon
we
episode if you like.
no,
we
that's
were
all
in
right.
his house. He didn't kick us out. I mean, go figure. I mean, Dom and I getting kicked out of somebody's house. I mean, it's just kind of like second nature. But yes, that was a cool trip. So good stuff. All right. Well, we're here to talk about the KTI Summit. I know you have a presentation this time to go, but I don't know if you want to talk first. Presentation, how you want to roll it. You tell me what to do, sir.
Well, let's talk about KTI and the program and the summit a little bit first. So,
all right. So let's go ahead. So, so again, to recap a little bit, if people didn't see the first episode, let's give a brief overview of the KTI program.
The KTI program is coming up on its 20th anniversary of its inaugural anniversary of 2004, when a group made up of Department of Education here in the Commonwealth and the intermediate unit system got together to pull off this thing called the KTI Summit in its iteration back then, and they pulled together educators from across the Commonwealth to come to a university at the time, and I've forgotten which one it was in 2004, but they did this from 2004 to 2010, bringing together each district in the Commonwealth had the ability to nominate one person, who then went to a regional review board, and 100 people from the 501 school districts got to come to Summit. So. If all 501 school districts made nominations. It was started up in association with Classrooms for the Future. Some of the watchers may know that, an attempt to get high schools, laptop devices, mobile devices into the hands of high school kids instead of just elementary kids. So up on the secondary level. And as often happens with the programs over time, tough financial times started to hit in 2009, 2010. And despite all the donations and backing they had from a lot of corners, the KTI Summit dried up until 2014, when it returned under the auspices of PAECT, where it has been ever since. So we have now done 8, I believe it is, summits ourselves at this point in time. Or 9.
I believe that
9. It'll be 10 next year.
And our partnership was with PAECT and one of our venture sponsors for PAECT, EduSpire, that came together to kind of look at bringing that back, right?
Yes. That all came together through a conversation at a PAECT regional event in the South East region between Tony Brubaker and Brandon Lutz. And that, as they say, after a conversation at a fall picnic in 2013, we did the first summit, a short 8 months later, in July of 2014, out of Kutztown University, before moving to Shippensburg, and that's where we've been ever since.
Yeah, amazing. And I bringing it back, and a lot of the we have different levels. You have your lead learners that work with you to help run it. You've got your people who are nominated. They come to Summit. They leave as stars. A lot of the people that are involved in it, this year I referenced it as almost a passion project. Most of the people that are involved in it, I guess everybody did. They came through the program. They experienced the summit on the other end, and they just give back that time, not just that week, but several evenings during the year, to just provide that opportunity and that experience that they were fortunate to have in the year that they attended.
Yeah, right. Passion project is absolutely the right word. Most outsiders don't know that not one of us takes a dime for what we do to pull this thing off. And it is not quite, but it's getting to be almost a 12-month project with the way things go, with the eagerness to get the next round of nominees going shortly after we pull up stakes on the conclusion of the summit that just happened. So all of us that were on staff this year, with the exception of the OG staff member from 2004, who has been at every summit since, Ann Noonan, has been through the program. So
yeah,
it's a competitive process to become a staff member.
Absolutely. We usually get about someplace between 25 and 30 applications for the 20 or so spots. And it's always tough to take a look at who's going to come back and who's going to get to come and have a new experience this year. And this year we were really, I feel really lucky, really fortunate that we brought on board 6, I think it was, Eric, 6 or 7 brand new staff members this year. That really brought a different perspective and energy to the way we approach Summit. So really cool experience all around.
Yeah. And going back to the stuff that, as far as zero take, we don't get paid for, it's all volunteer. But I think between the two of us, our garage is housed in the ballpark of like $8,000 worth of materials.
Yes. That have all gone away.
That fortunately they've all gone away. Otherwise, we both would be in trouble with our significant others. But like during that time, but yes, all the stuff that came from ISTE being in Philadelphia this year, all of the vendors, one of the kind of the interesting things that we've worked on kind of helping alleviate is all the waste and garbage. There's so many things that the vendors just throw away at the end because they don't want to take it back. So we figured that out. I think ISTE 19 might have been where we clued in on it. And then every P&C, and now this ISTE, we jokingly call it the Purple Bag Brigade because it's a lot of our KTIs in purple shirts coming to basically say, what don't you want to take back with you? And we'll take it. We put it in bags. We put it in storage. And, we just wait to, in essence, just bless all the different, stars that are at Summit just to give them, again, some teachers were just so excited, they don't ever have pens and sticky notes to give to people, to give their students, like some people with markers, like lunch boxes this year, just a lot of different things that they're able to take back and just give to their class. So that's always a tough time while it's in the garage, but an awesome time when we're giving it all away.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And fortunately, the significant others have been understanding enough, have gotten past the point, I think, where I know somebody wanted to divorce in my house over it at one point, but I'm kidding.
Yep.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, from many small items to several large items at times.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then as far as the process goes, all the applications come in. Scott strips out all as much personal details as possible. I jokingly said everybody's got the eric.verno.com website, things of that nature, that we can't always catch all of those, but it is as much as it can be a blind read for initial applications. People are put in, and I share the story all the time. At the time, being a South Central Regional Director, on maybe like year number 3, something to that effect, year 2, year 3, had my application in, and I was getting a little lazy, and for whatever reason, that small little voice just said, yeah, you've done some different things, change up your sessions. And when I got the tap on the shoulder at that year, it was at P&C, and told I was on staff, the backhand comment, not to say it in a bad way, but the backhand comment from Scott literally was, yeah, I honestly had it marked down. If you had the same presentations, you wouldn't have been on staff this year. So a lot of people think, oh, you're in PACT, you're doing regional director work, like you're guaranteed it in. Like, no, like it's read, it's valued. And just like you said, 6 to 7 brand new lead learners that just rolled over from being a KTI last year was a healthy discussion. And, because you gotta weigh the different things, the different, different people, things of that nature. And like, was it just going to be too much of a new staff? And hands down was not an issue this year. Like, they did such a great job. So that was really cool about it. So, yeah.
And you have to keep changing things because education changes. You can't keep doing the same thing, especially, 20 years from the inception. Can't be running the same presentations we ran way back in the day.
No, absolutely not. And that's their youth keeps the rest of us youthful and keeps us learning and thinking ahead to what's next, and what's going to be what's next on the horizon. So,
yeah. So, in thinking about the layout as it's going through my head, Scott, for our format, maybe it would be good to have you finish up with your presentation after we talk to what do you think? Lead learners and then the stars. Is that all right?
Okay, that's fine. So, all
right. Well, I think now, since we're talking about them and gushing over our lead learners, it probably would be good to have some of our lead learners come on the stage to share about their experience at KTI. So I do believe we have 2 lead learners in attendance, And so we're going to go ahead and play our little roll our little intro and get them on the stage. All right, here we go. Oh, I thought I clicked on them to come on stage. What did I'm only
They're
seeing
supposed
three.
to
Are
be
you
on
guys?
stage. Hold on a
Let's
second.
go on.
There we go.
Oh,
I fixed it.
Delayed. Oh, man.
Oh, I had a face and everything. I was like this.
No.
Come on, Verno.
Up here. I know. I had we had some different layout sets, so it pushed you guys out of there. So okay,
And
first time for everything. That's how
this
we
is the
roll.
nice mix. We have a veteran lead learner and a new lead learner.
Yeah,
That's
I'm gonna get rid of the KTI tattoo he has on his forehead.
Yeah, there we go. I like to use the whole screen.
Yeah, he does. He is like that. That is it is. So, all right, we'll start with you, Macer. How you doing, big dog?
I'm doing fantastic. I am thrilled to be here. I can't believe, so as I listened previously, that I've never been on the podcast before. And now that Scott's done the 2 times in a row, I'm hoping that the next time you're going to be talking, it's going to be about AI and you're going to want this guy on. So I'm shooting for that two in a row streak. And then because it's going to be so great, it's going to go 3.
So so obviously the cat's out of the bag that he doesn't listen to the pod, Dom, because we talked about AI multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
it pretty much is in like a lot of our shows. It's okay. Listen, I've only heard a little bit. Just make sure you subscribe.
It's almost enough to push you to the back room for a while now.
Oh,
just go with Addy.
All right, so we'll make sure we kick it off. So all right. So real quick, Macer, tell us what is your day job?
I am an instructional technology specialist, well, and STEM and science too, for intermediate unit number 9 in Smethport up in the north central region where everybody has a camp, but I live. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for 9 years and been part of KTI since I was a star in 2016 and then came back every year since to be a lead learner. And like Verna, you're right. It's always it's the one application I always change every year. Like Pete and C, I put the same Nearpod application in for a long time. Wink, wink. And they finally said, nah, that's the same thing. I'm not gonna do that anymore. But like KTI, it's like the only one that I really put a lot of heart into and think about because it's the one that you really want to be part of. So, and there's definitely a lot of conversations at home. Like, is this the last year? And of course, I always come back. I leave to go there and say yes, this is it. And then I always come back and go, yeah, one more year. I'm gonna try it again. We'll see if I'm in.
Yeah, because not only do the attendees get that, that igniting and that excitement, but it like Scott referenced the youth and how it we feed off of that and how it helps us. Like we have that experience as well. So I totally hear what you're saying there. Yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and introduce our other individual. Addie, let's go ahead and tell us who you are and what your day job is.
I'm Addie Wallace. I'm a middle and high school math teacher, and I'm also the math department chair at our school.
All right, very good.
Nice.
And then you were a KTI?
I went last year for the first time. I was actually accepted back in 2020, but I deferred a few times because of the pandemic. So went for the first time last year and decided I had not had enough of that and tried to come back as a lead learner.
All right, awesome. Very cool. Yeah. So like Dom was saying, you got the veteran and we have the rookie, or what I believe proto stars, what they eventually gave in that they were calling them. I guess that's what we were calling the new lead learners, proto stars. Okay.
That's correct. Holly's proto stars.
See, it still is just so tough for me to get because I was just used to saying newbie, it's just easier for me. All right. So so we'll start here. Being your first time on the other side of the green curtain, what are your takeaways? What are your thoughts? Very open-ended.
As I was kind of thinking about the questions today and re-listening to the podcast you guys did last week with some of the lead learners and the stars, I tried to think of a good way to really put it into words because even when I came home from Summit as a lead learner this year, I, kind of sat on just the feelings and reflections for a long time. I know Macer said to just kind of talk them out and see what AI does with it. And a few people did that, but I really just kind of sat on it for a long time. And I got a friendly push from someone that I'd been a little quiet in our Slack channels. And I posted, just some reflections on how I felt about the whole thing. And I thought about that again today. And the weird analogy I came up with, I know I'm a math teacher, but we're going to do an analogy. when you go to an amusement park and you ride the ride the one time and you're like, wow, that was so awesome. That was so much fun. That was like the summit for me as a star. But coming back as a lead learner is like when you ride the rides all day long to the point where when you get home, you still feel like you're on a roller coaster. That's kind of how it felt like coming back as a lead learner, because it was absolutely an amazing experience as a star. But then being able to create those opportunities for the people in attendance was just, it was just so inspiring to see how they received everything and how they really dug in at one point. And I just absolutely loved it. And you kind of want to like hold on to that feeling like you're still on the roller coaster. And I want to hold on to the energy going into the new school year too.
All right, interesting. Write that one down, Scott, for all of our roller coaster lovers. The quote, the endorsement there, and then we'll have to come up with some for like people like me who are just Captain Bumper Car. I don't do roller coasters. We'll come up with an analogy for them too. All right, that's really cool. So yeah, so a lot of great stuff there. So I guess reflect back on, and Mason, I'm going to throw this out to you as well. And Scott, feel free to throw any questions you have as well. But the two of you think back to your Star Summit. When was that? When did you really feel you were kind of like, this is where I was meant to be? So I'll start with you, Mason.
Oh man, I remember coming in and going, oh, of course my dog's gonna go nuts right now.
That's all right. It's all good.
Great. So coming in and just going like everybody, is there. I don't want to ruin anything, but it is just intense and thinking like, what did I get into? And I remember going like the first day and like we had sessions and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sneak back to the dorm room. But like when I did, I went back and like my thing always was I like to just capture things. And because I work at the IU, I really work with teachers a lot and I really want to get them to do more, and not more, like they do enough, but get them to share their story more. And like, so it was just seeing that and capturing that. And I was really into movie making. So I just started like filming things and like, I'll admit immediately you got the sense that people are it's going to be very engaging. And so like, I knew that capturing as much as I could was good. And then you have your team that you build with the project that we were doing. And like, that's, I had Autumn and Tom and they were amazing. So like we became a really close group and that helped. But yeah, I mean, I had to come back the next year to do it again. So by the end of it, I mean, I loved it. I mean, it was amazing experience. And it's even more amazing as like a KTI lead learner and being the part that helps develop it for these people to have this experience.
All right. Okay. So now he had to dig back way, way, way in the cranium. Addie, not so far, right? A little fresher for you. Think about your summit experience. Where are you at with that?
I think it's really hard to pin it down to one particular moment. I kind of mentioned this in my story that I told during Summit as well, but I think it was just the overall feeling that everyone else in the room was just as excited about professional development as I was. And it's hard sometimes to be that excited, but then sit there and be like, I can't be excited out loud, but that's what everybody is doing during Summit, like at all times, 24/7. But funny enough that Macer's here, I did have one moment with him last year where I was just talking to him about like GimKit and the way I wanted to use it in my classroom and talking through some ideas for different things. And I just remember him saying, like, I can see your passion for this as you talk about it. And that moment just kind of stuck with me. And we had a similar moment this year, too, when he sat in on one of my sessions. And I wrote in one of my reflections that he told me that I was very good at like doing those sessions and getting people engaged. And when I wrote it down, I wrote the word he told me, and then I changed it to reminded, because he had told me the year before. And I just needed a reminder that this was something I'm passionate about and others can see it.
That's awesome.
So thanks, Macer.
Thank you.
Macer moments. I'm sure there's a lot of them. Very good. Yeah. All right. So now let's flip the switch over to now you are on the other side. We'll start with Addie. Now you're on the other side as a lead learner, watching it unfold from our Wednesday night meetings, rolling through to then we go from like casual meetings to like, boom, the pace is picking up and the lists are growing kind of a thing. You jumped on some different committees. Well, just talk to me about what mental process you went through during all of that. I don't know, there's no real switch that needed to flip at that time, I don't think. But where were you at with all of that?
I think the interesting part was when we first met as a team, I was really excited to be a part of the team where most of the people were lead learners when I attended Summit, and a little bit of imposter syndrome being like, these people were amazing last year and now I'm a part of this squad. But I remember leaving the first meeting that I was excited. And I was also like, why don't we have 10,000 more things to do? Because after seeing what Summit looked like from the camper side, I felt like we had to be doing something literally every single day from the get-go almost. So at first it almost felt like I should have been doing more and more and more, but I think I was just building the lists until I think Scott mentioned this last week. Once we all kind of get out of school in May or June, that's when we really start, working hard with some of the things that we've been adding to our lists over and over. And that's how I spent most of June and July leading up to Summit. So it was interesting to me that I almost felt a sense of urgency, because seeing how great it was as a camper, I'm like, there has to be so much more than what we're starting with. But it's really insane how it all just comes together. Like, I'm a very organized person. I always want to know, like, what should I be working on at this time? And there's definitely a feeling at Summit when you stand there for 10 seconds, you're like, what should I be doing right now? It feels kind of calm. This is weird. But you just arrive on Sunday and everything just falls into place. You almost just, I know a lot of us have said it, you just have to trust in the process, because all the hard work we put in from, February on just ties together, and you don't even really see it happening until it's happening.
Yeah, I was going to cue Scott to say that phrase, because that's really a big one about the process that he says. So go ahead, Scott. Go ahead. Give us the sound clip.
Well, just trust the process, and we just have to believe that it's going to work out for the best. If we just understand that there's a reason we do everything, trust the process.
Yeah, and that's also like when you think about the conversation that's had. These are the people that are picked. But when you look at, the mix of people, you need to have a healthy mix of the people that understand, trust the process. Because if everybody was experiencing that thought of what you had, Addie, like it could blow up, because again, it's you got to work through it. You got to ride it out. But it's tough. And the other thing too is we're so used to being on islands as educators. Like you have your people you collaborate with, you do different things, but really when when that bell hits, like it's you. In this scenario, there was 20. Is that the number we were at, Scott?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So 19 other people that all in my line, I like this, and I think I stole this from Scott too, like the stay in your lane deal. Like there's some times where, like, if you look and you're like, what's Ferno doing? Like, the times to shine, the times to kick it on happen when they happen. And but it doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need to be but that is a whole unique concept with that. So, but it's interesting you had that feeling, and I will speak on the back channel of, we use Slack, and there's a few times where I'd be like, you're good. It's okay.
We all know I'm an overthinker. It's fine.
Just give her a task to go color coordinate. And she was happy. She was kicking it. She was rolling it. All right, Mason, what about you during the week? I mean, you've had several weeks, but what as far as your mindset goes? I know you gave us a little insight into it with regards to, I always go in thinking this might be my last, and then you come out of it different. What else you got going on through that noggin?
A lot of it's just like you're with, like Addie said there about the work leading up to it. It, like, for me, felt like I did not a lot, but at the same time, I kind of like stepped back a little bit and let my STEM, and I've always been part of STEM and STEM night, and just kind of let them do what they did. And again, we had some new folks on with that, and it was just amazing, like the work that they did to build it. But like when you get there, and like for STEM night, we always do a video on Sunday night, and like again, the new Keith and Ryan and oh my gosh, now
Jess.
I'm forgetting Jess. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot her name. And then Deisler. But just like going and like being part of this passionate group of educators. And I remember telling Jess after, like, hey, I'm so appreciate so much that you dressed up like Mrs. Incredible and did this video, even though it might have been, completely strange and just awkward. And she's like, oh no, it wasn't. That's what I came in for. I mean, I wanted to do that, and it just makes you feel good. But at the same time, you just go, when you have that much passion and people working towards that, it's tough not to want to come back to that, because at the same time, 51 weeks out of my year, I'm fighting to get that passion out of people. And we do, but it's just it's an addictive thing that you come back to. And again, like it's an emotion. By Friday, you're just a wreck. And it's amazing how I've always like, I'm not gonna be up. I'll be fine this year. and I leave just going like, oh God, I love these people. They're part of my family and they're just fantastic. So
yeah. What from a veteran lead learner standpoint, watching the new lead learners go through the week, when do you see them get into their comfort zone? Is there a noticeable difference from day 1 to day 5?
For the lead learners,
For the new lead learners.
Yeah, I think they all try to find their place. I think they found it really quick this year but there was a lot of you guys within the new team, the Proto Stars.
Yes.
But the way that you guys stepped up, like, again, I was like, we had like the storyteller time thing and the Ignite stuff. And I'm like, as a lead learner for 8 years, I don't mind coming up and doing that, but I'm like, I'm gonna step back. And if Scott needs somebody to do that, I'll step in and do that. Absolutely. Always will step up, but it was never needed. Because everybody stepped up and shared a story. And I feel like all of your stories were like, supported by one another. And it was just an amazing support group that you guys had. So I feel like they were like by STEM day. I mean, I think everybody was ready to go, which is Tuesday. Yeah. I think by Monday, really, to be honest with you, Holly gets you pulled into it pretty quick.
She certainly has an inspiring energy.
She does.
Yeah, I agree with what Greg said. It was pretty quick this year. I mean, some years it takes another day or two until they feel like they've got their legs under them. And I don't know if that's because the energy of the when it's a smaller group, kind of the energy of the returners kind of overwhelms them for a little bit until they're like, okay, this is my spot and it's working out okay. So, I think it varies from year to year, and I just at least this year in particular, I just got to enjoy sitting back and watching the magic happen, because it happened so quick, and enjoy the group.
Yeah. I mean, I rolled in on Thursday morning and you couldn't tell outside of knowing, from seeing the different faces, you couldn't tell the difference between a new lead learner and a veteran because everyone meshed so well. It was nice seeing that. But like I said, I didn't get there till Thursday morning. So
I think we all knew Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Macer.
No, it's setting a high bar for next year. I'll admit that. Because like every year, you always feel like, at least when I've been a part of, every year, like it feels better than the last. Like you just feel like you've grown, and you learn from the past. And it's like looking back at this summit and just going like, well, what do we learn from that? Well, we learned that we're really good at what we do. And like it was just such an amazing experience that it's going to be tough to match. But I hope, again, everybody from this year comes back and applies again next year. And I hope we have even more, it's nice to see like 30 applicants, but let's give Scott some work and give him like 50. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So apologize. I had to switch my caps over to PAECT real quick and handle something. So in all the conversations, one thing I was going to say earlier with Macer, you were 16, right? 16. I think, was that the first year, Scott, that we made a reference to this group's coming after us?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I've always, they did. That was another year that there was a lot of new people. And I learned a lot that year. And I can't pinpoint exactly who the team was that was helped pick the staff. But I know when we chatted afterwards, we were like, okay, we got to do some things a little differently because they came hard. And then there was some, I mean, there's not a handbook on how to do this thing. I'm not sure there is a right or wrong way on how to do this thing. But I just know that I've come to trust the process and people working through the process. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, that group's always coming hard, or we feel like they're coming hard. And then in certain years they do. And the thing that's become apparent over the years, it was really on my mind this year then, is that over time, those people with their crew, those 6 from this year are probably going to feel a unique bond with each other. And my crew from back in 07, I'm the only one left. So I've adopted some new people, and it's becoming apparent as people kind of drop off, that the families change and become extended or new, or as Deisler put it this year, the fraternity I never got to fully have, because he helped found a fraternity at Shippensburg, incidentally. But being a founding member, he didn't have that longevity of things, and never having been in a fraternity myself, that kind of rang true a little bit. But it's just always the family that I can, no matter where I go, there's somebody I know there that's been part of the team at some point in time, and always willing to welcome me into the fold, welcome each other into the fold for wherever we are, Pete, Misty, whatever.
Yeah. So that the Summit 16, the stars that were there, the excitement they had, the way they gelled, it's just sitting back and getting to watch it, hey, over the years, and the grades are for real. It's just always interesting to see how that happens. And that group just clicked, where we were like, "Ooh, buddy!" And then the amount of applications that came, and Mama back in the day, Ann, Scott, I don't know who else. Like, as far as picking the lead learners, then that next batch comes in, and a lot of them came in. And we had that next group. We had some great groups, but we didn't have like that pocket, that 16 pocket that rolled in. There was a pocket of 17. They kind of melded together, and then you kind of had like a little bit of a lull. And now this year we have like that huge pocket of 22s that stepped up to be 23 lead learners. And it's, so at Summit, it's so interesting watching it. And I always like to sit back during meetings, and I think I'm quieter during the early meetings because I just like to sit back and observe how everything's going on. Then when Summit hits, I just don't shut up. But watching it, and there's Scott knows, but there's different times where after our meetings, everybody leaves, and Scott, myself, one or two people are there to do different things, and there's a point every year where either he'll bring it up or I'll bring it up, and it would be like, that was it, that was the click, the lead learners clicked, and this year was, did I miss that moment? When did that happen? Like, because it happened. Like, it just formed, like the gel, the goofing, the camaraderie, just that family experience, I was busted on in one of our first committee meetings, busted on Addie, and she just threw it right back. I was like, oh man, this girl's it's like she's rolling. And so it's neat just to sit back and even see the lead learners do it. It's wild to see the Summit stars do it. And it's interesting watching all the lead learners learning to fully trust that process. This group was a unique mix of attendees, not one that we're accustomed to. It was just a different mix. But sitting back and letting that process happen was a true trust fall for several people this year. But it did, and they did, and they bring it. So it's awesome. It's super cool. All right. Well, I think we do have several people that we do have in the background. All right, hanging out. But I do want to show one of our highlight videos before we bring them on. So Sarah Walton, one of our lead learners, does an amazing job every year. It's off camera, off the side of over. She's done some amazing ribbons. I'll pull those on camera then.
Oh, her earrings are on camera today.
Oh, you got earrings right there. And does an amazing job every year. And she puts together, I know Greg was a part of that as well at one point doing the video work. So I have one of her kind of sizzle reels that we'll play in the morning when everybody comes back in and seeing what happened the night before. So we're going to go ahead and have that video play through. And on the back end, we're going to have some Summit attendees from KTI 2023.
Team
Oh, jeez. What am I doing? That was your advantage. See, I failed because I think they ran me over.
But we all won in the process.
Oh, did I get everybody? All right, hold on a second. Remove. There we go. Whoop, 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 whoop. I was trying to beat the clock there. Woof, that was a lot. All right. A lot of people to click. Add. All right. Welcome, everybody. So I'll need you to turn your microphones on because it did keep you muted for some reason. I think because I hit the video by accident. All right. So we're going to go around the room. Let's see here. Is everybody? So that's got it. Oh, that's a little better. All right, so make the move so we can see a little better here. All right, so I'll go on my screen around the room. So we'll ask you just share your name, your day job, and give me. Let's do the superhero thing. Let's kick it in. What would your superhero power be? So, but I'm gonna mix up the order. I'm gonna start with Jeremiah.
Oh, wow. Hey, everybody. Jeremiah. Let's see. I'm a computer science teacher in Stilton. And I have to say my superpower would be graphic designs.
All right. Okay. Kick over to your right a little bit. I don't need to see so much of Henry Winkler's nose there, Jeremiah. All right. Your other right. All right, Melissa.
I'm Melissa Kreider. I teach 8th grade English language arts at Landisville Middle School in the Hempfield School District. And if I could have a superpower, it would be to duplicate myself so that I could be everywhere all at once, which I need all the time.
All right, very good. There'd be several laws broken if I tried that for me. All right, okay, Jen, on to you.
Yes, Jen Barron. So I work for IU 24, so that's the Chester County Intermediate Unit, and I am one of our online learning design specialists there. And I guess my work superpower is anything that involves organizing files for people. But if I could have something outside of a work superpower, it would be to teleport.
Oh, teleport. Okay. All right. Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Ellick. I teach grades 6 through 12 choir in the Southwest region of PA. And I would have to say my work superpower is probably being able to hear like any little snippet of music and be able to write it down like on the staff. But I would really love to teleport because I've got like ADHD time blindness. So if I have to be somewhere at 6. If I leave at 6:05 and I mobile order the Starbucks, I could definitely get there on time. So I would really need the teleportation.
All right. And then we'll thank you for that plug for Starbucks for appreciating their, send the money, PACT. All right, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda Durham. I am a high school English teacher at Pennsbury, which is Lower Bucks County. And I guess my current teacher superpower is problem solver extraordinaire. I've definitely been seen walking through the building carrying a saw and a sander and usually some other tools to fix whatever is broken, which usually in my building is a lot. But I have to go with the teleporting too. I have the equal problem, Liz, of thinking that I can get everywhere within 5 minutes flat, and you can't.
All right, now listen, I realized 3 of you took the old she stole my answer and just try to make it look cute and fancy there, but I'll let you go this time. We'll talk about that later. All right. All right, teleporting. Okay, you can do it in Minecraft, so I know you can do it there. So anyway, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about your experience at Summit. And, we got several people, with Dom, Scott, Greg, and Addie. Feel free to, if you have a question to throw out there. But we'll start off with We won't ask about your experience when you first got there because we know what you're going to complain about. But anyways, we'll move on from that. We'll save you from those complaints. eBay is still awaiting my funds. So, but let's talk about how you got nominated and when you got nominated, what your mindset was at that point. All right. So now we'll reverse order. We'll go Amanda.
So I was actually nominated by the star from the year before, who was also our tech coach. And honestly, I'm an English teacher. And so usually we are not the tech people. So I kind of had this feeling of I would love to go, but I don't know why it's me. And I think that one of the things that was so great is quickly I realized that there were a ton of English teachers who felt the exact same way I did when I got there.
All right, very cool. All right, Liz?
It's actually funny because the person who encouraged me to apply is in the room, so to speak. Addie
Hello.
and I work together. Hi. We more than work together. We've known each other for years, but it was the same kind of thing where it was a push to, you should try this. And I was like, I teach choir. I'm not sure if you noticed, but like, how do we think that's going to go? And I definitely had the imposter syndrome of like, why am I here? You know, but I learned so much and I'm very thankful.
And I, we've had several with band leaders, band instructors, and on the music side, we definitely have had several of those, right, Scott?
Correct.
Yeah, we've even had a few that came back as lead learners, and some of them play some piano at some former venues that we used to visit. So very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Melissa.
Like Amanda, I'm an English teacher. So a lot of times when we integrate tech into our classrooms, it's not like the cool stuff. It's not like drones and all of that like fun hands-on stuff, just because most of the time we're using Google Docs or ClassKick or something like that. But like Amanda, I also get knocks on my door from all my colleagues asking for tech help. So I was nominated by my principal. I got the email of, hey, can you stop down to my office after school, which is always a terrifying email to get no matter what. And he handed me the certificate and the letter. He's like, you should be getting an email. And then within like a few days, I work with Sue Allen, and Sue Allen showed up at my door and was like, congratulations. So you're applying, right, to the summit? And I was like, yes. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to. And she's like, no, you are. So basically, I know Sue well. She's one of our tech coaches in my building, and we also co-direct musicals. So it was like, I could not avoid Sue constantly asking me, like, do you need help? Like, let me help you. Like, what are you going to put into your application? So it was that was very helpful. And then getting to KTI is just one of those overwhelming experiences.
All right, now Jeremiah, did I bully you? I mean, it's okay that Henry Winkler was in the background. I wasn't saying you had to get rid of him, or was he whistling in your ear? What was going on? You guys fighting over there?
He was like, go ahead, you can do it.
All right, Jeremiah, let us know the situation and how many cartwheels you did down the hallway when you found out you were a KTI innovator.
Oh my goodness, I was like, I ain't do no cartwheels. I would have found slow motion, but I did jump for joy. I actually didn't. I got nominated kind of awkwardly. It was a professional development, and it was a guy from KTI who was presenting at our school, and he was like, and I inquisitive about what he's teaching on the board. I say, hey, tell me a little bit more about what you do after everybody left, and he said, I think you'd be great for this program. So I got nominated from somebody who was visiting my school. Fast forward, Scott was on me because I was interested, but I was in the hospital at the time. And I said, once I get out this joint, I'm going to be there. And I was there. Listen to Wild Things. All the way through the building. So,
yeah, you were the first person in many years to realize that's the drum beat. Yep, that's funny.
And I'm not even a music major.
Yeah, every so often I just kick back into that. So we'll leave that other part a secret. But yes, that drum beat will kick out every year. All right, Jen, tell us about your experience there.
Yeah, so I was nominated by my supervisor to go. And looking back, I now think it was very intentional on the part of all my coworkers when I would go up to them and say, like, what do you know about this KTI summit? They were intentionally very vague. So I was going in very blind to the point that I didn't know until we got the email saying you're going to be staying in a dorm, bring sheets. And like, I had no idea that was part of it. No clue whatsoever. So I was terrified going in. And my first couple days, just trying to kind of find my footing because I'm not a classroom teacher, took a little bit of time, but as I went through the week, I'm really glad that they didn't warn me what was going to happen, because I think I probably would have tapped out real quick, because it's definitely my type of environment where I would typically thrive and prefer to be in, but I'm glad that I embraced it and was there.
Yeah, I mean, that silence can be interpreted a lot of ways. If they're like, okay, they're not talking about it because they were secret society sworn to secrecy. It was so bad they don't ever want to relive those moments. Like, what's going on here? That's funny. Did you reach out to any of them during the week?
Yes, I talked to a couple during the week, and I'm like, I think I understand now your motive.
Very good. That's funny.
Jen brings up an interesting point that was actually discussed openly this year for the first time that I can ever remember, kind of figuring out that we're very intentional at what we do. So Jen was like, you're saying kind of midweek, you kind of figured out we were being pretty intentional. How about the rest of you?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Oh, no, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Probably during STEM night was when I figured out the more intentional parts of things.
All right, Liz, what about you?
Yeah, it was very evident. Yeah, I think STEM night is a really great example of how much went into it and how intentional it was. I remember texting Addie a couple times and being like, I'm very nervous. I am not an outgoing human being. What is occurring? And I'm pretty sure if she had told me to trust the process one more time, I would have begun the process of losing my mind. So, but it is very intentional, and it is evident that, you know, there's so much passion that goes into it.
I told her I survived too. I came out better on the other side as an educator, so it was fine.
Now, obviously, both of you said STEM, so now maybe like, you went from reclining to like being in the show, so he's all fired up. Oh, look at and Deisler, look at that guy. He's giving you a bombastic side eye. All right, Amanda, what about you?
I know you said that we're not allowed to steal other people's answers, but I have to say that
you guys are a bunch of thieves. We know. We know the cat's out of the bag.
I mean, I think STEM night is the first where everything kind of clicked, because it was letting us play and have fun. And I think so much of what I've been missing as a teacher over the last few years is just joy. And I think all the way down to the relay races where it was like, wait, we're eliminated and I don't get to do this anymore. Like, wait, I'm out. I had that, you know, kid in the gym class moment, which is never me again, English teacher. So I think that was amazing, but it was really funny just from the very beginning, the fact that, you know, you pull up and you steal all our stuff. So if we realize maybe we made a bad decision, we can't leave. Like all the way down to just the way we were brought in, and there was no downtime, and we really kind of had to talk to each other. And as a person that wouldn't have maybe done that on my own, I'm really glad you made us do that.
And I will say, when it comes to the relay races, Scott, you'll be able to back me up on this, that we do have to inform the Student Technology Center that is located on the first floor of when that happens, because they've been seeing these adults walking by or visiting Dunkin' Donuts. They're used to like the lead learners and some of the crazy we are. But we just have to prep them and be like, tonight's the night. Like, oh, challenges are happening. Yeah. Oh, my former teacher going crazy tonight. Like, yeah, there's going to be that moment. So yes, they all have that. What do you think, Scott?
Oh, definitely. They were actually disappointed we didn't do it out in the open this year. But with that tiled floor downstairs, I think we latched onto something nice by having it up there in the one multi-purpose room. Next year, we just have to remember to invite the student techs up so they can watch it with us. So,
yeah, that's funny. All right. Saving the best for last, Jeremiah. He's like, oh, he skipped me. He's not coming back to me. I can tell you were nervous. Don't worry, I got you.
Oh man, I was like a kid in a candy store. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I was like a kid in a candy store, and for the night that hit me, it was more than STEM. Like every night hit me. I already knew what was going down the pipe from the moment I got there. From the 4 points that we had to learn about and everything, and like many, it woke me up and wanted to be more intentional in what I teach in my classroom and all the stuff that I get to bring back, all the new toys and like. And my principal, I've been texting her the whole time there. She said, "I never heard you sound this excited about teaching." I said, "Because I was like, I'm excited. Like, I get to bring new stuff into my classroom because you do the same thing for the last couple of years. Like, I need something to give me that spark, and then to have people who's just excited, just as I am, about learning new stuff. This made it phenomenal."
Oh, awesome. So yeah, so there's a lot of neat stuff there that you kind of like, that really caught your attention, kind of took things going. But what was like a big takeaway you may have had? I know we talked about the STEM night, being able to play, and that's really a lot of the way. Like even like with Prize Patrol, and we want you to leave with stuff because it's only if it's delivered to your classroom do you get it. And there's a huge variety of things that can be caught, received, hit with, or chosen off of a table, or put in the back of your truck or car if you have the size to take it. But that's something that teachers don't normally get. Like more of your tech side, they get to kind of like play with the stuff before teachers get it, right? But when you go to trade shows, teachers are so nervous to like go in and like grab the stuff off of a vendor's table and start messing with it and even ask the words like, "Is this free?" So we try to kind of like break down that barrier there, but STEM is really like that. Just the amount of things that you're being exposed to, and not just like in the academic side of it. Oh, this is very nice. Oh, I could apply this, but getting the juices flowing, getting you very competitive is always fun for us to watch.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
What would be another takeaway that you would have from the event? Just to pull like as far as something that you think you're going to immediately take into your classroom, or just something that you really left excited about. So we'll eeny, meeny, miny, moe it and go to Liz.
Okay. I think the biggest thing I took away, I love to learn, and I loved learning about all of the different resources and getting to play. But the biggest thing I took away was kind of a bigger overarching, I don't want to say vibe, but kind of vibe. And just being surrounded by other passionate people who are really committed to making their craft the best it can be, and always looking for new ways to do that. And then it was such a supportive environment, and I don't think I've felt that supported as an educator ever in my teaching career. It was just like this unwavering support for, you have an idea? Is it hard? Yeah, let's try it. And so it was much more of an overarching feeling than any one specific thing I could take away. It's just like a reignited sense of self and of passion for the profession.
Very good. All right, Melissa.
So I think the big thing that I took away is that I need to be pushing myself more. I know Liz and I had a fantastic conversation. I think it was Thursday. We were walking back to the dorms, and I think that was kind of like the essence of what I said is like this week just showed me that like I have all of these tools at my disposal. I need to push myself and actually get outside of my comfort zone and start advocating more for myself to do those things. I like to say that I'm good at advocating, but I'm really good at advocating for my students and not necessarily for myself. So I think that was like one of the big takeaways is just that I need to do that. And I think the great thing about Summit is that, like Liz said, you're with a bunch of passionate teachers. Like everybody who was there was excited about education, and just with how education is right now, not everybody in our buildings is excited to be there and excited to try new things because education's hard right now. So it was really nice and reinvigorating to be around all of these people who want to try new things and that you could talk to and are coming at it with so many different experiences, whether it's for your 4P project or for like just something random you do in your classroom.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
All right, Jeremiah.
Oh wow. What can I say? The connections I made with Team Ish, the connections I made with everybody throughout the whole summit. I took that back and ran with it. Where I just started making connections with Harrisburg University, Penn State University, just to bring those people into my class to add new ideals and new things to do. And this from the summit. I learned a lot from all the leaders, the lead learners about some of the tools that I can use in my classroom to make it more exciting for the kids to learn, and also get myself excited again, just teaching it. And then I took away about advocating for myself, like going back with that skill set. You know what? I can do these things. I can ask for these things, and it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to reach out where I have a community. A whole community from KTI and everybody here who I can call and rely on, and then the meeting up with everybody to build a network. Like, you know what? I need to run this ideal by you. And what do you think can I do to add to my classroom for my district and everything? So that's what I talk away from everything.
All right, good stuff. We'll hit
Yes.
Amanda.
So I definitely had a lot of the same feelings that Melissa did, and I think I'm coming away with, I guess, courage and this idea that you don't have to be asked to be a leader. And I think the lunchroom in in any school by April, I feel like the teacher lunchroom has become like the most toxic place, and so many of us just stop going and we stop working with each other because we're just trying to get to the end of the year. And I think that one of the things that I'm definitely going to try is to make it so it's not just getting through the year, and it's keeping that positivity in the room. And I think just conversations, hearing so many amazing things that people are doing in their classrooms that I never felt that I could do or I was allowed to do, and beginning to realize, well, why not? So I think that's what I'm coming back with for the year, is this. Honestly, it was just an attitude change that I think I really, really needed.
Very good.
Yeah, I like the comments. I mean, the pushing yourself, the advocating. I like the comment, and I forget who made it, about the intentionality. It's not just about I found a new tool, I found something neat, or I got this neat thing, a neat prize, but how can I bring it in and use it effectively with my students? And that's the key to all of this, is that intentionality. What's the purpose behind it? What added value is it going to bring to my class?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think we still have Jen to go yet. Am I right? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully Dom didn't take any of your answers. Otherwise, we'll talk backstage.
I think my takeaway took a little bit of a different route, and I'll acknowledge it's going to make me sound really bad at first, but I promise it ends on a positive note. But not only did I come into the summit completely blind as to what to expect, part of that was my fault because I wasn't willing to look more into it, because I was also kind of coming in with a very negative attitude. Prior to attending, I was looking, in the next 5 years, how am I going to phase my career out of education? I was very much not interested in pursuing it further because I couldn't find my place anymore. I wasn't in the classroom anymore. I'm at the, intermediate unit full of people who have been doing this for years. I was there for my first year, and I'm like, I don't fit here. I'm not really, the classroom wasn't working for me. So that's kind of the mindset I went in with. So it took me till Wednesday, so past STEM night. Wednesday afternoon is when it really kind of clicked for me. And it was something with like attending sessions. And I think it was Holly's that I ended up going to. And I said to her, I'm like, I'm not a classroom teacher, but here's why I want to attend your session. And it was really in that I got to learn and figure out my role is listening to and hearing more about what teachers need and what schools need. Because kind of like what Melissa said, I've never considered myself like an advocate for myself. I was, an advocate for students or everyone but me. So I kind of found my sense of self, and really where my passion lies is helping be an advocate for teachers and what they need in their schools. So that's really was my biggest takeaway, is I've kind of found where I fit again, and I'm very happy and grateful about that, because my life could have looked very different if I didn't kind of come to that realization.
But you know, like for you to like look back and be like, oh, I shouldn't have done, like you did what you did. And it happened the way it happened. Like that's what it was meant to be for you, and it's fine. So I definitely don't take that as you feel being bad or negative or whatever. Like it's just that's just where you were at that time. And you know, a lot of the stars in that same scenario, even sometimes the lead learners rolling into it. You know, we might have that. So you know, we're only human. So yeah,
and that's something that we've talked about this on numerous occasions. We have the state board meetings where we take a couple days out of our schedule away from our families, go to meetings. But you have Pete and C, you have some of the ed camps and the other events. Everyone gets worn down over the course of the year, and it's going to these things kind of rejuvenates you and gets you back into the. There are people out there that are looking at more than just test scores, and like-minded, and it does get you going again, because it's easy to get worn down over the course of a year between such things, the weather, you get up, it's dark, you get home, it's dark, the kids, everything else. I mean, I love what I do, but it can wear on you after a while, regardless of how long you've been in education. It's just being human.
Yep, and that's something fortunate. Like Dom mentioned, the state board meetings, because PACT, one of the backers of KTI. So it's ironic when you look at all the people who've been brought to that state table, who stepped up to be a part and help run the organization. A lot of them found their passion at KTI and then stemmed from there. So just for all of you, there'll be an email coming out where there's a call for presentation. If you hesitated on the summit, don't hesitate on that email, because it's open to anyone and everyone. Especially we want to have people who were able to experience that and want to keep it going and just stay connected, drive things, and make Pennsylvania the best state of ed tech there is. So definitely look for that. Keep those opportunities going. So in the 1 hour that we're at, what we're going to do is Scott's going to be rolling into talking about like nominations for next year. All right, so you have 20 seconds to think about if you were handing a star over because you all received a physical star. How is the secret? But you all got a physical star. The goal is, and I know it was mentioned, to hand that to somebody else. Scott's looking for a star real quick. I think mine's behind me, and a couple of them in my classroom. So if you, there we go. Liz has got hers there. So you're going to hand the star to somebody. What's one thing you would say to them to convince them, to sway them, to introduce them? All right, very open-ended there. And I'm going to start with Addie because she's been sitting back here. Go ahead, Addie.
I actually have given a star to someone sitting in the room, as we talked about earlier. So I had a few that I gave out. I sent one to a friend who moved to another district, and I'm really hoping he goes soon. One to one of our friends who couldn't make it this year, and one to Liz. And I said, there's this summit. It's really just crazy, but I don't know if that was the first time I ever said trust in the process, but it might have been. But I just said, it's this amazing, exciting experience. And the same way that a previous star told me about the summit, I said, it's just a life-changing experience and you have to give it a try.
All right. And I'm making sure that the stars have time to think. So Macer, you're up next.
Well, I always approach people and say, hey, you want to change education with me? Come on, let's join. That's I just making a change, making a difference. Come on, man. It's the same education I've been when I went to high school, just more TVs. And it's like this group makes you feel like there is innovation happening in the classroom, and we really need to share that more. And so I always want people to come to KTI, but I always push them to share their story at Pete and C and just share it. Share what you do, man. Come to KTI, share what you do, share your passion. But that's it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's go with Liz.
I would have to say that I was told it would be a life-changing experience and that it couldn't be more correct. It's funny, Addie used a roller coaster analogy. when she was talking, and I, without speaking to her, also planned a roller coaster analogy that I jotted down, and I felt like a roller coaster passenger the entire time. Like, you know, no comfort whatsoever as far as me socially. But I would get on that roller coaster again in a heartbeat, and you will want to do the same.
Awesome. All right, Jen.
Yeah, so I have a friend who's a teacher, and I called her on nights 1 and 2 crying that I should not have been there and wanted to go home. And then by night 3, going back to the roller coaster analogy, I called her and all excited, telling her everything about my day. And she was like, "You've really experienced the roller coaster of emotions." I'm like, "I did, but I think I needed to. It was important for me to kind of hit that and kind of find myself." And it was actually something she said back to me, so I'm stealing it. But it's really where you go to find your tribe, is what I would tell someone if I handed them a star.
Awesome. All right, let's go with Jeremiah. Oh, you're muted. There we go.
All right, come from the great quote from Willy Wonka. If you want to come with me and experience a world full of imagination, why not come to KTI, where you're going to get more excited about education. I have a couple people in my mind in my building who I think will love to just get pumped up about education. Even my administrator, I think I would like for them to come just to see how professional development is done correctly, where you get everybody excited about wanting to learn and wanting to teach new things. So that's one way I would get my administrator and one of my coworkers to come to KTI.
Awesome. All right, let's go with Amanda.
So I have a couple teachers I've been thinking about, and I feel like one of the things that I just want to say to them is that you're an amazing educator, and I want you to see what an amazing educator you are through the eyes of everyone else who's at that summit, because they really do make you feel like you have no bad ideas, and everything that you think maybe you want to try, you can do.
Awesome. All right, and rounded out with Melissa.
So I think I would first of all start by describing it as teacher summer camp. I describe that to some people where it's a place for you, kind of like when you're at summer camp, to make fantastic connections with people all over the state. I now know that I could probably go anywhere in the state and know someone who's going to support me and be there for me no matter what. But at the end of the day, KTI makes great educators, phenomenal educators, just because it gives us those chances to try new things. It's the whole Miss Frizzle thing. Try new things, get messy, make mistakes. Everything's okay at KTI. And like what Addie told Liz, I was told by Sue, it's a life-changing experience. And it is truly a life-changing experience. That is not an over-exaggeration.
Awesome. Well, and Jen, I did happen to just pull this out of one of my shirt piles. One year it was our big push.
Oh, look at that.
Tribe.
That's so cute.
Yeah, perfectly. So, yep. So very cool. So, and that truly does encompass a lot of what we think, what we, how we feel about it and things of that nature. And I guess the other thing to show real quick was the amazing work of Miss Sarah and all of the beard bows that were worn the one year during the camp, but all the different events that did occur. But just amazing. A lot of great stuff there. So we truly appreciate all of you being here. We appreciate you all being you, bringing what you are, who you are, what you know, and how you want your students to grow to your classrooms every day. And the coolest part is we thank you for being PAECT members, because our organization is only as amazing as our members, and our members are just so amazing, which makes the organization great. So I look forward to seeing you at regional events. I look forward to seeing your name on that call for participation, whether it be a committee chair, a committee member, things of that nature. And most importantly, after the names are revealed, I look forward to seeing all your names on the lead learner applications next year. I don't get that behind the scenes. Scott gets that behind the scenes early. So, but I'll be able to figure it out later. So look forward to seeing all of that next year. So that's awesome. Now, not to put you on the spot, but a show of hands, who's planning on filling out the lead learner application?
Nice.
Easy.
I guess Macer and Addie made me put my hand up. Okay, their hands up. All right, awesome, very cool. So, feel free to put down that you appeared on the pod. No, I'm just kidding. Leave that out of there. So anyway, it'll be a giveaway. All right. Well, thank you so much. So we're going to send you back to the virtual room, the green room again. Dom's one job twice a month is to remember candies, sweets, green
They
M&Ms.
will be at the Southwest and Northwest joint event tomorrow.
He's just making you work for it. All right. So what amazing group of people,
Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. All of them, lead learners and attendees.
And I don't know if the attendees realize how much we take away from them, how much they teach us. The lead learners are there and labeled lead learners, but they get a good takeaway. And I know showing up as a regional director, we get a lot of information and a lot of feedback and ideas from the attendees too.
Yeah, it all comes out in those conversations that we get to have with different people all week long. So,
yeah, and even from the veterans going through the process with the lead learners, just that rekindling there, having summit, and Dom, you made a reference to it, and it's huge. Like, Pete and C is such a recharge. Like, I'm so fortunate that I get the battery charged in July, I run, and right when that February timeframe's hitting, boom, Pete and C comes. And I just love people coming up and talking, chatting, having those conversations, the hugs, the high fives, the stories, just sharing about our year so far, get that refill, and then rolling in through the summer. If we happen to have, ISTE close by, that you get to see people, but on the socials, and all of the events, it's awesome. And again, it's at like any kind of membership there is. Like, you get out of it what you put into it. Like, if you sign up for something but you never show up, who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit you, but most importantly, it doesn't benefit us. Like, we want you to be active. We want you to be there. If we had not to prolong the conversation, we had a member show up to last week to an event from another region, just drove 2.5 hours to come because there wasn't anything happening there. Drove to a different region to come to an event, and I, we're going to have events there where she doesn't have to drive that far all the time, but that's awesome. And it was so great seeing her. It was so, catching up just since a little bit, but, and you're welcome to attend anywhere. If you happen to be visiting family in a different region and there's an event going on, pop in, it's awesome.
In fact, we'll go over all that here. We'll let Scott do his presentation. Then we'll get into, because we have a bunch of events coming up here shortly. Some are virtual, some are face-to-face, but they're open to all members. So we'll let Scott get his.
All right. Yeah, our part will be the Micro Machine Man version. We'll be going fast. All right, Scott, let's hit the ground running. What we got?
Okay, so at some point in the next couple of weeks, nominations will open for KTI Summit 2024. Which will be July, I believe it's 22nd to the 26th of 2024 on the campus of Shippensburg University. We always do our work around Connect, Develop, Lead, and Advocate. And as we scroll through this, I'm going to kind of walk you through how it is that you should be working with your administrative team to get the best people possible to KTI Summit. And it's a 4-step process. So step 1, we want you to pick and select your nominee. The nominee's got to come from your building principal, but we encourage all the stars to make sure they have a voice with their building principal about who's going to be next coming to Summit. So think about who's dabbling in ed tech in your building, who could use a nudge, who's someone that could grow, and who might be a good leader, which is that little kick in the pants. They don't have to be rock star ed technologists to be selected to come to Summit. They just need to be somebody who was like, oh yeah, that person could use a nudge. Hey, that person's got a little room to grow. Yeah, they might get some great ideas from coming. Think about and pick those people. Step 2 takes us to the first check. And here's a little bit of insider information we share with our administrators that come and join us on Tuesday, as they're the ones usually making nominations. Want to check and see if your person's already been nominated. Once a person's nominated as a Keystone, they are always a Keystone. They never have to be nominated again. So there's a link right now, and that is open. You don't have to wait until we get nominations open to start checking that out. So you can use the QR code or that bit.ly to check out who has already, it's to see if your person has already been nominated. Now, we know some people have common names, so then you might have to go have a conversation with the person in your building that you're thinking about. Hey, did you used to work at such and such a place? Might you have been nominated to be a Keystone there? And if the answer is yes, there's no need to nominate them again, but go ahead and encourage them to apply for the summit. There's nothing to say that there cannot be two people, a previous nominee and a new nominee from the same building. Because I mentioned districts used to do the nominations. These days, it's every building principal in the state can make a nomination. So you can have an old nominee apply to come to Summit. You can have a new nominee apply to come to Summit. No problem on our end if everybody gets through the selection process. And if they have never been nominated, then go to the next step, which is to do check number 2. I really think it's a wasted nomination if the person isn't available to come to Summit. And that's why I mentioned the dates of July 22nd to the 26th of 2024. It's always the last full week of July. So if your nominee is available for Summit, yeah, go ahead and nominate them. You want them to put in that application and at least have the chance to go. And you want them to be willing to wait until mid-March to find out if they can do that. And if not, go ahead and make that nomination. If you feel really passionately about that person, maybe you know they're going to apply down the road in a year or so. But if not, you also might want to consider getting another candidate who can and is willing to apply, make the application for Summit. And once they've checked and gotten through that second check, then it's the time to nominate. And this is where if you use the link or QR code that are coming up on the screen, you're just going to hit a dead end right now because there's been only so many hours in the day since I started back to work full time this week. And coming down off Summit and getting some other things tidied up and organized in a PAECT meeting this past weekend. Need to get just a couple more things in order, namely the Summit application for 2024. And then we're going to be opening that up to everybody clear across the Commonwealth to start making those nominations. Just keep an eye on those communications that come out with that. Some different things might happen than everybody's accustomed to with nominations and making those Summit applications and when people will be notified. It's some things the team's got to talk about right now. And then I'll just close with the did you know part here. Past nominees who's never attended a Summit may request to apply at any point in time by emailing me. And if they need more info, anybody needs more info about Summit, they can visit our website at keystonespa.org or drop me an email. And that was in the previous bullet point. And as for Summit people applying to be on Summit staff, give me another couple of weeks after we open nominations up, and we'll be talking about that. So hopefully by October 1, everything will be rolling for 2024. Thanks, guys, for having me again.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. I think it's a huge part, to make saying it's not picking out that person who's killing it. It's all levels in that room, and it's so huge to make sure you don't overlook the people that need it. And as our two Summit attendees, our Keystone stars shared about the roller coaster analogy, like all of us have those moments, where our highs and our lows. So who would benefit? And that word benefit can be loosely interpreted. And the people you work with. Go ahead, Dom.
And it doesn't have to be technology. It's just how you think educationally. Are you doing something outside the box? Are you trying new things, willing to try new things? So it doesn't have to be a computer genius. It's just someone who's, willing to try and work like the English teacher said. And coming from social studies, we don't get the cool robots, but it's you're approaching it differently. And
I guess I should say too, it came up with an attendee this year, and I said to him, I wish I'd have known sooner that your administration was roadblocking you from getting a nomination. If you feel like you're being roadblocked from getting a nomination, we have avenues of which we can make sure you can have an opportunity to apply to come to Summit. So again, you just have to kind of reach out to me that way. And I may put you in touch with a regional director. I may put you in touch with somebody that you maybe already know that's on staff or something like that. And we'll talk things through. And as Jeremiah said, I allowed a nomination kind of through a non-traditional way to come in for him this year that allowed him to attend Summit. So that option is always there.
And then conversely, it just says if you're presenting or you're with somebody and you're like, man, this person's really got it, or this person could really use KTI, give them the nudge, and then even reach out with a name and information to a regional director, to Scott, to somebody who was on staff, and they could even look into it and take care of it in that fashion. So that's awesome. That's super cool. Yeah. What a great group, man. What a good conversation. So I truly appreciate it. Back to back, the money we didn't spend you was so worth it. We didn't give you, Scott. It's so worth it. We appreciate it. Just don't cash that check ever.
Yes.
And we'll be solid. And so I appreciate all you do, man. It's again, the passion project, the service you put in, the family time that comes from it. So thank you so much for doing that. And truly awesome, and looking forward to hopefully have that opportunity next year. But yeah, and maybe rocking the pod from the grounds, the hallowed grounds of Shippensburg University yet again.
I would love to be able to do that again.
All right, we'll move on with the rest of our pod. Thank you, sir. All right, brother. Amazing stuff as always, huh?
Always. And meeting all these people, the week of Summit, came in Thursday, hung out part of Friday, great group of learners, many more people than what we've had on the pod, but a lot of great ideas. Like I said, the ideas flow both ways, from the lead learners and from the attendees, and being able to talk with them and, get to meet these guys. It's phenomenal. Always a great, great summit to be at. Great opportunity to go up there and visit.
All right, and real quick, Dawn popped in there. I think I sent her an email and she didn't make it. I don't know if wires got crossed, so I owe you, Dawn. But I'm pretty sure she was on the email list of people to be on the night. So I apologize when we got mixed up there. So, all right, well, we got to talk about some things that are going on with PAECT.
Yes.
And so some different events.
Right.
So I got to switch over screens here. Do you have it available?
No, I don't. My new light. Got a new light, Five Below. Pop in for Five Below.
I thought you were going to talk about your new Charlie. He was well behaved tonight, sitting on your lap.
She's been great. If you look over my shoulder right here, when you wander, you're learning. Book study's coming up. Another book study.
Oh, man. I like it.
That is, I'll have the site pulled up here in a second, and I'll be able to share this out and talk about things. The best way to find out about PAECT, we do have a bit.ly. We do have emails that go out weekly. We do have a newsletter that goes out weekly. But if you don't want to wait for that information, go to paect.org.
There you go.
And let me get on that page. Of course, I have 55 tabs open and 7 windows. So if we scroll down, oh,
you timed out that picture poorly. Hey,
yes.
All right, now people are back.
We're good.
All right.
The bottom of the page, we have the PAECT calendar. So you come here, and if you look, we have Southeast had an event at Topgolf tonight. We had at 7 p.m. a webinar, Back to School with AI. Tomorrow night, we have PAECT at WQED from 11 to 2. Then from 2:30 to 4:30, we will be at Permanis, Northwest and Southwest PAECT. And anyone else who'd like to join, we're meeting the Keystone Stars from this year. And Thursday, 5 most effective ways to manage digital distractions in the classroom. I signed up for that. I signed up for tomorrow's events. And the book study starts next week.
And a little known fact, when you sign up for a webinar or you go to an event, if it's deemed worthy, Act 48 hours are given. So that's always great. And hey, so we should have watched our own banner, Dom. You look here at bit.ly/PAECT, all caps, lowercase events. If you go to it, let's go ahead and roll over to our glide show. Our regional directors do a great job of taking that calendar and making it look marvelous. So we have our events here. All right, we got all of our August events mentioned. So this is just going through, and every so often you'll find an event on the Glide Show that isn't on the calendar, and vice versa. So it's always great to check both. This even lets you know, hey, this is the PD committee is hosting it on Zoom, things of that nature. And then even rolling over September. All right, now some things coming soon. They worked on it a little bit this weekend, but like that Clarion kickoff, you got coffee meetup happening in Bethlehem. You got tools to kick off the school year, hosted by Southeast. I do know South Central is putting together, talking about the cool tools for the school year for 24. So that's all in the process. I know they're trying to finalize the date. It's like September 12th or 13th. We're trying to figure that out. All right, so a lot of great stuff, and we try to do the best we can to put that information out. But as Dom said, there's a newsletter that comes out on Wednesdays. The Education Technology Today, that features a lot of stuff that's happening in Pennsylvania. Also, one of our sister companies, I guess if you want to say it, up in New York, NISCAPE, a sister affiliate. And then also there's some other ed tech articles that are involved in there just from around the interwebs, if you will. And then there's also the state blast that gets sent out. I know we send out different information. Pete and C is still accepting your applications for sessions. I know I still have to send mine.
Yes.
Did we submit the pod? Did that get submitted yet, Tom?
It's going to be. I haven't submitted it yet.
I know you always take care of that. So to present live from Pete and C, and then any sessions that you have, and even doing a poster session. That's kind of one of the little secret tricks. If you're not really comfortable doing that big presentation, put in a poster session, because the cool thing about Pete and C is whether you're doing a session with 300 people attending or whether you're doing a poster session with 30 people walking by, that's one way to get to the conference for free. You just have to pay for your lodging and travel and food while you're there. There will also be a meet and greet for PAECT during the event, a time where anybody who's a member can sign up for that. And we always look forward to seeing you there.
And actually, that's open to anybody, not just members. I was just in a meeting today for the Three Rivers Educational Technology Conference, TRETC. It is January, I want to say the 15th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which a lot of people are off or have in service. It's in South Fayette, which is south. It's off of I-79 here in the Southwest by the Pittsburgh region, but is open to anyone in the state. And we were looking to have a PAECT presence. We have a lot of keystones, a lot of members present at that conference. And I brought up the idea that, a lot of people want to put in and present at Pete, and a lot of people put submissions in, but it's their first time presenting. They're a little bit intimidated. Put in at some of these ed camps, put in at some of the local or regional conferences. TRETC's one of them. Put in, state that you put in at Pete and C to present. Have a practice run, so to speak, or give yourself a mulligan. Go through, get used to it. It's a smaller conference, but get that under your belt. You don't have to, be intimidated. Jump in and work with this. So the request for proposals will be coming out shortly with that. If you have any questions, please email me, dominic.salvucci@paect.org. Once we have that site up and running within the next week or so, that'll go out in the newsletter, and I'll send out a blast to the region. But we have people from all over Pennsylvania come to that. And we've had people from North Central. We have a lot of people from the Northwest travel down. It's right on the interstate. So,
that's a great point to make, Dom. I was going to yell at you for talking about, late down in January already, but way to reel it in. Getting your feet wet with presenting. Not only the ed camps, because again, the smartest person in the room at ed camp is the room. You're not truly presenting, but you're sharing in that capacity. But reach out to your regional directors.
Yeah.
Right. They're all listed on the website, and say, hey, I am nervous about presenting, but I would love to get my feet wet at one of our regional events. What are you guys planning? Here's something that I feel really passionate about. Maybe there's a way to fit it in. There's all sorts of things that maybe you would just present on a certain tool. Again, it's a smaller kind of setup. There's that. Yeah. And we do have sessions. Usually it's a hosted Zoom statewide and out of state, where people come to a meeting and somebody from the planning committee, program committee for Pete and C will appear, and they'll kind of share about tips, tricks, things you should do. we don't always necessarily get them to come in before the presentations are due, but it's a time to talk about it. And a lot of those things are recorded. And another interesting fact to tie in one of our other sponsors that we work with, Otis, is, through the tech.com, through their organization, would search Otis. All PACT members, premium members, receive an Otis account. And a lot of our PACT materials is on the Otis platform. So if you have an Otis account at school, you can't get access to the PACT items through school, but through your PACT account and the PACT Otis account, you can get access to those to watch previous and past year events and things of that nature. And you also get Act 48 hours for that as well. So, but a great opportunity for you to look up a lot of different things.
Oh, Charlie reminded me, it's not really that I'm talking about January stuff and February stuff, but end of the month, your Pete presentations proposals are due, and end of October before the end of October is when the Tretzi proposals are due. So it's right down the road. You got to be.
So I can't argue with the dog, but to argue with you, we stopped at September for our events. Just trying to get out there. October's a little later, Dom. No, all good, all good. I tell you, you're in trouble when you're the four-legged family member comes against you too.
And speaking of the regional directors, because our regions are geographically rather large, like we go from where I'm at, Beaver County, all the way down to the West Virginia border, all the way out towards Johnstown. It's a large area. If there isn't an event, and one of the Keystones asked you, do you have events out? And it was out on the other side of Monroeville, out, past Irwin. And I'm like, we haven't had too many events out that way, but if you would like to host something, reach out to me. We'll set something up. Even if a regional director can't be there, we can tell you what we need to do to get that and support that event in your area of your region. So please reach out to us. And all the regional directors are on the website. We want to have events, and we want to serve all of the members, not just, certain groups or certain areas. So if there's something you think that you might want to have in your area and there haven't been events in that area of your region, reach out to us. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, definitely there's really, no bad idea. There's no bad session presentation. There's no bad meetup. It's wherever it is. And the thing we say about PHT is when we're doing a meetup, we'll meet somewhere where we'll provide the food, we'll provide the tea, the soda, anything beyond that you'd like to purchase for yourself because it's been a long day, that's on you. But we definitely, try to just, visit different establishments to have those different meetups. So, coffee houses to the Applebee's, doing what we can. So love it.
Nobody likes to go to Applebee's by themselves.
That's a sad time. You don't want to do that. All right, trying to pull this in here. Here we go.
As it gets darker, my $5, I think it was $5.25, my light looks better. If only that happened with me.
Oh, fancy stuff. All right, well, Dom, we're at the end of another amazing podcast. There's a lot of great stuff we've been chatting about, all KTI related. I believe next month, the 1st and 3rd, we'll kick back into our regular routine of talking a little bit about the pod, talking about PACT, talking about our classrooms and what's going on, and also sharing some tech notes next time.
I think so. One question though, should we have Scott come back for a 3rd time, raise the bar for Mesa, or just keep him at 2?
I don't know. We can't answer that now because I don't want Mesa to go, well, he stepped out from the green room. So it'll be a mystery. We'll have to see. So
you have to tune in
next bad time, same bad channel.
Yes. Next pod time on the same pod channel. See who our guest will be.
That's it. And if he's, willing to put up with us yet one more time, we'll see. All right. Well, listen, Pete, PACT organization, we truly love being the voice of education in Pennsylvania
and beyond.
All right. Thanks to our sponsors. PACT would like to thank our corporate council sponsors. We'd like to thank EduSpire for being our venture sponsor. Check the next step. Thank you so much for ClassLink for sponsoring PACT. More time learning, less time logged in. And Go Guardian, proud sponsor of PACT. And finally, thank you to Howard Technology Solutions for being a corporate counsel sponsor. We'd like to